Hey gang, Pastor Matthew and Nicole here. We're so excited to kind of give you an update what we shared this past Sunday night as a part of our all-church meeting, and we were able to share the vision that God's been putting on our heart. And and some might be saying why. Well, the reason why is because even over the last 12 months, our church is continuing to grow Sunday to Sunday by about 25% over the prior year. With that present growth rate, we'll surpass the 4,000 person mark in Sunday morning, or what we would call weekend attendance, by December of 2028. Think about this crazy number. If we can stay at that same rate, it will be over 6,200 people by December of 2030. You talk about making a difference for the kingdom. Now, there'll be some challenges, but I think there are more opportunities for us to raise up more dream teamers, to open up more CH, which means we get to reach more souls, to open and figure out how to do River Kids at a better way, so we can continue to reach more kids in the next gen for the sake of the kingdom. To continue to be a church that's radically generous to us. I mean, part of that vision was a few years ago, actually, I was approached by Pastor Chris Williams that said, hey man, God gave me kind of a vision, and I don't know that this could ever happen. And I said, I don't think it could happen. But kept coming back around to us. We kept talking, and this past January, we were down in Dallas, Texas with one of our mentors and coaches, and he and his wife challenged us to come back and to pray because we were running out of space. And so we came back and began to pray. And we've spent the better part of the last 3 or 4 months really clinging to the pant legs of God. You know, that verse in John 15 we've been talking about a lot. Remain in me and I'll remain in you. I've used the word cling to me and I'll cling to you. I was challenged by some of my mentors. They called me spiritually stubborn when it came to this idea. So I thought I could launch another campus and that would work. Well, that didn't work. And so here we are. And what God spoke to us over the last few months is that we have a clear calling on our life and on our hearts to pastor this county. We want to see Grant County and the surrounding region stop getting bad news every time you turn it on, but to start hearing great things happening in our city. We believe there are great things happening in our county, in our city, in our region. So I'm here to kind of share the vision that we're stepping out and believing in faith with the people of Lakeview Church to partner together in ministry. See, I don't believe this is just another announcement. I believe this is a milestone for our entire county. And Nicole, when we were at the art conference a few weeks ago, why don't you share a little bit how God confirmed that in your heart? Because I was waiting on you to kind of discern, to tell me what was up.
Right. So back in February, when we were at Milestone, I really felt challenged in my heart to actually bring this to the Lord in prayer and really take it very serious because we love our community and we just want to see the kingdom expand. So I began praying, and while we were meeting with some pastors and at a conference that we were recently at, one of the speakers at the very end, he had finished what he was saying, and he came back and he said, I feel like I have a word for someone. And I'll be honest, that word was for me. I needed to feel affirmation from God that this is what his plan would be. And so that evening, when that speaker left the stage, he said, sometimes I feel like you need to go back to a place that maybe makes you uncomfortable. It's a new feeling or something, to really feel God's presence and feel God reign on your life. And there was this big sigh from me, and it was like, God, that's what I needed to hear. You are here, you're present. And it was just very reaffirming from that moment on that buckle up, we're taking the next step.
That's kind of our code word. Buckle up means when we're ready to go. And this is a milestone moment in the life of our church. It's a milestone moment in the life of Lakeview Church. It's a milestone moment in the life of Grant County and the greater region. We're here today to share with you because God's moving. We believe we're on the edge of something that's bigger than any one of us could ever imagine, because it's all about his kingdom. Could it be that God has brought the river and Lakeview together for such a time as this, to reach and live out a shared mission of reaching the 42,000 unchurched people in Grant County? Both churches have a unified burden, so there's one vision. Both churches have long felt a calling to reach the unchurched. This represents a God-ordained opportunity, in our opinion, to amplify that shared passion by joining forces. See, Jesus has a heart for the lost. And our unity is not about any one institution. It's about the people who still don't know Jesus in Grant County and the region. Together today, we believe that we can be better and live out the Great Commission better in our community, to live out the Great Commandment better in our community if we would come together. So I believe there's strategic kingdom impact. When we combine resources and leadership and congregation, the multiplying effectiveness of that across Grant County and the region by discipling and reaching the 42,000 people, it is going to be amazing. Over 42,000. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when they give their lives to Jesus? Can you imagine about the hope and the healing and the saving grace of Jesus Christ that will go forth? See, when we say joining together, we say adoption, we're not talking about two institutions blending to become one. What we're talking about are people's lives forever being changed. We're talking about thousands of lives that are at stake right now. See, I also believe that unity models the gospel. So why merge? Why now? Well, we all have a holy discontent. When we met with Pastor Chris and Pastor Maria and Marita and had just kind of talked through this, there was this discontent that we felt because God is stirring something up. And when God begins to stir, we cannot ignore that. See, we felt the limitation of doing this alone. But I believe we'll be stronger together. There'll be unified leadership, amplified discipleship, a broader reach, greater gospel impact. Folks, what we have to understand, this is not about survival, it's about revival. And we believe that the rains of revival are about to fall. So I believe God is calling us to more. The question is are we willing to let go of our comfort to embrace kingdom expansion like it's never been done before? See, I believe there's momentum and there's missional opportunity all across this city. There's momentum to mobilize the river and Lakeview because we each bring unique strengths to the table. And when we come together, it allows us to run faster and allows us to run farther. Our reach would be amazing. So this move would position us to reach more neighborhoods and more demographics across Marion and the greater Grant County area. There's ministry expansion from our children's ministries to our youth ministries to recovery ministries. Love the Brianna Hopes, love the jail ministry, and all of the different outreach ministries from the Big Give. It gets bigger than ever before. All of this creates something that can be just greater because we're together. It allows for expanded discipleship when we come together. It expanded evangelism pipelines into so many cities. See, I believe this shared vision of one mission, two legacies becomes one clear future. There'll be gospel-centered teaching. There'll be deep discipleship. There's a heart for the lost. There's a love for the city. So what could this look like? A new kind of church in Marion, a new kind of church in Grant County, a church that's unified, a church that's multi-site, missional, and mobilized, where people are going out every day to make a difference, where kids and student ministry is growing at exponential rates, where people are coming to know Christ every single week, and they're being discipled and baptized weekly. Local partnerships with schools and rehab centers in the underserved neighborhoods all across our county. See, I believe it's a launch pad for church planning and leadership development. So let me just ask you a few questions. What if we stopped asking what we're comfortable with and started asking what will reach the most people for Jesus? See, I also believe there's incredible stewardship of the resources that God has given to us. There's the resource of people. And when we begin to maximize the gifts and the talents and the callings that God has placed in both congregations. There's obviously the facility stewardship line, where we strategically begin to use existing campuses to enhance and access the total outreach potential from both sites. Oh, there's also financial multiplication. When you join the budgets together, you create an opportunity for greater investment in those things that we're passionate about, in evangelism, discipleship, church planning, local outreach, and leadership development. So are we willing to be uncomfortable for the sake of the lost? That's the question that we're all trying to answer. My question now is this: maybe what part could you play in helping this new church thrive? So I think what I'm asking of you, my friends at the river, is would you lead with some faith-filled obedience? Would you spend the next few weeks discerning through prayer? We're inviting both congregations to pray and to fast and to listen for God's confirmation together on this. I challenge you to open communication, transparency that needs to be shared. Ownership will mark this process when we're real with each other. I challenge you to spend more time talking to God than you do to each other about this. And I really trust and believe that you'll hear the voice of God. Some other ways for you to get involved, man. I know Nicole will be at some of these. Pastor Chris and I are looking forward to sharing in coffees and desserts with the pastor, man. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I might gain a few pounds. But we're really looking forward to an opportunity to sit down in small groups of 20 to 25 people or so, just to kind of share the heart and answer questions and hear from you about what God's been stirring in you. See, I'm believing that God is about ready to do something that we never thought possible. And so we're on the brink of what I believe could be one of the greatest moves ever when it comes to the church world in the history of Grant County. So would you pray with us? We love you. We thank you for partnering with us, and it's our honor to be your pastors. We'll see you soon. God bless.